Okay, yes, we are live now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Here with me in the studio, we have Ejiro and we have Dr. Eman. And today we're going to be talking about a very special topic about the Schlumberger Fellowship. So Dr. Eman is going to give us a little bit of insight into how the fellowship works and important points you need to know. So it's going to be a very lively session. As usual, you can just use the comment section. Let us know where you are, your name, and where you're joining us from. And as the session goes, you can also pop your questions into the chat, and then we will come back to the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So I'll allow my fellow people in the studio to introduce themselves. I'll start with Ejiro before we go to the
Uh,
main.
okay, hi everyone, and thank you, Buchi, for having me here again, our regular people's mentor. Hi. So, hi to everyone on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. My name is Ejiro, and I'm one of your regular hosts, or rather co-hosts, because Buchi is here, and I'm doing a PhD in transport planning at the University of Leeds. So, thank you, Buchi, for having me here. Okay.
You're welcome. Dr. Iman, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, good evening. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you, Buchi, and Gio. Thank you for allowing me to join this nice session to talk about Schlumberger Foundation. It's my pleasure to be here, and I welcome everyone who's joining this. Thank you. So sorry, I didn't introduce myself. So my name is Eman Omairey. I'm a lecturer in civil engineering, and MSc course leader of civil and structural engineering at Teesside University. Teesside University is a university located in northeast of England. And before working there, I've been here, as you can see, I'm not British, so I'm actually from Iraq. I've been in the UK for 7 years now, almost 7 years. I've studied my PhD in highway engineering at Aston University in Birmingham, and then worked for a while as academic support and academic administrator at Leeds Beckett University, and then moved to work at Teesside University as a lecturer. I've been there for more than 1 year and a half now. And yes, it's my pleasure to join this lively, nice the session to talk to you as young people and idols to help people to pursue their academic or career goals, to become PhD students and find a suitable grant. So nice to
Oh,
meet you.
thank you. This is exciting. Okay, Buchi.
It is
Yeah,
exciting.
thank, thank you for that. Yes. It's good to know that you have a background in civil engineering. I did my undergraduate in civil engineering as well.
Oh,
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
now I'm
so
jealous. Now I'm jealous. I
So
can't.
we're all in the highway and transport
Yeah, but
field.
you guys are the engineers. I'm not the engineers. Now I'm jealous, but it's fine. Don't worry. It's okay. I'm fine.
no problem. We will adopt you very soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think today's session is going to be a little bit power packed because we have Dr. Iman that's going to talk a lot about the whole system, the journey to the PhD, how to get the grants, how to interact with the supervisors, and a lot of things.
Oh, excuse me, Buche. No,
Yeah,
somebody say hi
it
to
just,
him,
it
ma'am.
just,
Hey, ma'am,
it
somebody
just,
say hi
it
to you.
just,
Oh,
Hi, Hosan. Nice to meet you. Nice to speak to you again. To thank you a lot for joining this session. Yeah, so I forgot to mention also that I have worked for a while in Iraq as a lecturer in civil engineering before after doing my master's there. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hosan, for joining this,
okay.
and Cynthia from Ghana as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, just drop your name and where you're joining from. Yeah, Buche, sorry. So host. Yeah, I'm just
no,
here
no,
to
no,
support.
it's okay. It's okay. It's good to see.
Okay.
It's good to see some familiar faces once in a while. It's always
Yeah,
good to acknowledge your teachers. I mean, I always
yeah,
have
that's
high
nice.
regard for my teachers. So I'm happy that Hosan was able to identify his teacher. And like I was saying, so today's session is going to be a little bit power packed. there are going to be a lot of helpful tips coming out of today's session. And at every point in time, you can always drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll come back to that at the end of the session, just to allow Dr. Eman to run through her presentation uninterrupted, so we won't be interrupting too much, but we'll try as much as possible to take all the questions that come in. And just so you know, she's going to talk specifically about the Schlumberger Foundation, but she's also going to give a few tips about PhD studies in general. So you can always, so if you are a prospective student looking to ask any kind of questions to someone who has been where you want to go, this is a good opportunity for you to make use of the session and ask your questions directly and get what we call the direct answers from the horse's mouth. So, right now I'm going to hand over to Dr. Eman so she can start up her presentation, and we will pick up the questions after she is done.
Thank you, Buki. I will talk about Schlumberger Foundation, particularly their fellowship program that is called Faculty for the Future Fellowship. It's essentially a grant that opens every year around September time for applicants to apply for a PhD or postdoctoral study abroad. It is let's say it is open for candidates from developing countries. The list of countries where they are eligible to apply varies every year. So it's important to look at the eligibility criteria for when it opens or around the opening time in September. Oh, and we can see on the screen the application website, which is www.fftf.slb.com. As you can see on the left hand of the screen, there is the eligibility criteria that you can read. And this is a screenshot from last year before it was open. So it starts in September, around the 10th of September usually, and closing time of the application is around 11th or 10th of November. So it usually stays open for 2 months to apply, but it's very important to be prepared. So in order not to waste your time, I'll talk first about the eligibility criteria, which is it's almost like stable throughout the years. And how do I first? I'm not a representative of Schlumberger Foundation, but Schlumberger Foundation funded my PhD study back in between 2018 to 2021. So I am a previous awardee. So I'll talk about what I know, and I'll try to give as much tips about it as possible. The eligibility, in terms of eligibility, it is open for female candidates, citizens of a developing country, and specifically for candidates who would like to pursue a PhD or a postdoc in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. So any STEM fields, even, for example, medicine, pharmacy, all of these, as long as it's part of the science field, like let's say not humanitarian, for example, you are eligible to apply. If you have, let's say, a dual citizenship from a developed country, then you're not eligible to apply as well. So how do you know if you are from if you are eligible or not, depending on your citizenship? Again, you need to have a look at the eligible countries for each year, because it changes, it varies. I think they have specific indicators. They look at several, let's say, indicators of how developed the country is, and yeah, it changes. The list changes each year. So yeah, please check. Don't waste your time. Check, see if you're eligible or not. In terms of again, it's open for either PhD candidates or postdoc candidates, and you need to be either enrolled, admitted, or at least applied for a host university. So you need to have initiated your study or your plans for your study when in the time on the time of your application, once you submit your application. Also, you need to have an excellent academic record. So this can be either by you can evidence this by your qualifications. Maybe you've worked as a lecturer or a teaching assistant or research assistant in a specific university in that time or during applying. So all of that is good things to include in your application. And another criteria is, of course, you're going to submit an application in which there are several sections, and each sections you'll have a few questions that you need to answer. So you need to demonstrate during the application that you are willing to come back to your home country after you finish your study. What do I mean by home country? So again, if you are from a developing country and like to go study in elsewhere, it has to be somewhere abroad and from a let's say a reputable organization or university or a research institute. And also, it's good to show or demonstrate that you have leadership skills. This is quite broad, so don't be worried. Or how do I? Usually, you are an early career professional or early career or a graduate, recent graduate. So just showing that you are involved in any sort of activities that can help people or in some sort of training that to develop yourself. All of this, any certificates, anything that show that you are actually somebody who is committed to develop and develop their skills and capabilities. That's quite a good thing to have. Also, any kind of active community outreach, any activities that encourage, let's say, girls or women to join STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is good. For example, if you go to schools, deliver talks, involve, let's say, in your university student journal, joining extracurricular activities within your study. That's all. These are all good things to mention. So yeah, this is our main criteria. Citizenship. You are a female. You are active, or you are an active professional or person, have a good track record. You can demonstrate or develop some leadership skills. All of these things are part of the criteria. And you can, if you go to the website, you can find details on this. So, but this is basically it. A little bit about Schlumberger Foundation. So Schlumberger Foundation is a non-profit organization. It supports science and supports women in STEM fields in order to bridge the gap between having, let's say, gender gap within STEM. So trying to bridge that gap. It was the program, the fellowship was launched in 2004. During which until now it has funded or supported 863 women from 90 countries. So you can imagine it's quite competitive. And in terms of funding, so it's you have to, if you apply this year and you get the scholarship, you have to apply again next year in order to renew it to continue your study. So it's a yearly program. And it was in terms of money, so it's the maximum amount that you can apply or get on a yearly basis for PhD is 50,000 USD, 50K. While if you are pursuing a postdoc, the maximum amount that you can apply per year is 40K US dollars. So what is it that you need by the time you apply? So you need to have, let's say, up-to-date CV. You need to have some sort of evidence that you have initiated contact or application at the host university, so the university that you will be studying at for your PhD or postdoc. You also need at least a maximum of 3 reference letters, minimum of 2. So this is one from the host university that you'll go to abroad, as well as one from your current employer or current institute where you're working or studying. These are quite essential. So there will be a separate deadline for your referees, with your current, let's say, or previous supervisor and your future supervisor to support you and submit these reference letters. They'll get an email basically to do that. So what else do you need? Any kind of evidence that again you have finished some training, you have involved some activities, you have, let's say, some connections, or not connection but rather like work commitments, or not necessarily commitments, any promises that you actually can go back to your country to work. That is very good. Yeah, I think that's in terms of evidence, but again, there is an application that you can you need to fill out. So it's not enough to just, let's say, upload your transcripts. No, you have to mention why you'd like to apply for this study. So it's like writing up an essay about your research interests, your personal statement. Why do you think this is good for your future? Um, just to demonstrate that you have a plan, you have a method, you have let's say a vision for your career and for yourself, and also you are very you will be committed to that study that you are going to, so the PhD or the postdoc. So it's good to do some research on how to write a personal statement. There are lots of resources also online. It's good to have a look at some examples. It will definitely help. But it's important to write and I would say, like, promote yourself, advertise who you are, because people won't know without actually reading it. So it's not enough to just mention that you have those qualifications. Um, if you are, let's say, not eligible for Schlumberger Foundation, lots of these application steps or documents or let's say writing skills are still essential for any application. Even let's say if you are applying for a study that advertised by the university or funded by the research institute itself. So it's usually lots of these questions that you need to answer are quite similar. So this I think today's talk would be still very useful to listen to. And also I know that Ejiro is a Commonwealth fellow, so it's also another opportunity. So it's a brilliant opportunity. So it's good to look at what options you have in terms of potential external or internal even grants, because universities also advertise some positions from time to time. So just be aware of these opportunities, prepare for them, and yeah, that will be this is it's in a way, it's by itself is some sort of like personal development, I think, which would be yeah, would be great. So this is in terms of Schlumberger Foundation. Any questions so far on this, Buchi or Ijiro? Anything that I missed on this?
I think I will love Buchi. I think before you go to the Buchi, I know you're the host, but I think before she goes to the supervision part, we can look at the chat and see what's there. Buchi, what do you think?
I think you are on mute, Buchi.
Mine?
No,
Oh,
no, not
sorry.
you.
Yeah, yeah. I was the one on mute. Yeah,
Okay.
I was saying that's, I think we should, yeah, we should check the chat.
Okay.
See if there are any questions specifically for Schlumberger before we move over to, let's say, section B. of the discussion. Yeah, but that was a very insightful presentation. Uh, I also learned a lot. I've
Thank
heard
you.
of the Schlumberger Foundation, but I don't really know the details. But after today, I know the details very well. So I don't think I can see any questions in the chat right now.
Well, we don't have questions, but we have people saying hi to Dr. Eman. So let's put it on.
Yeah,
Hello.
so yeah, we have people from LinkedIn. We have this comment. Dr. Eman was one of the best teachers that I had. She was serious and wise and a reasonable person. We learned a lot from her. I
Oh,
personally appreciate her efforts.
oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So yeah, one
Thank
of your
you.
students.
I also had very, very good students as well. So it's really it's a pleasure to reconnect with you guys. Okay, I just like to add in terms of usually people ask how competitive it is. These scholarships. It's a quite I think for me I would say don't be discouraged and also be prepared very well for it. So when I started my study, when I wanted to start my PhD, I started 2 years before I actually went to the UK. So I started looking for potential supervisors, potential universities way in advance. So it's quite time consuming. Just put 1 year in advance that you need to prepare, maybe apply for a visa. In the UK, if you are coming to study something in engineering or science, you will need something called ATAS certificate, which takes time, although it's only part of the procedure. So just plan very well and keep in mind that it is time consuming, but it is absolutely worth it. For example, for Schlumberger Foundation, I applied twice before I finally got it in the third time. So it's important also, it helped me understand what is it that they need. First time I applied, it was my first ever experience actually preparing an application. And we never had such, at the time, it was 2015, I was not exposed to the criteria of how to speak about myself. I thought, okay, if I have the qualifications, if I have the job, all is good. But no, it's not like that. Sometimes you have to master this, the art of actually speaking about what your skills, your activities, people won't know unless you say. So it's if you think you are eligible, give it time. Look at the criteria very well. Review your application. Make sure that you tick all the marks that they want to see within the application. So you have to show it. You can't just expect people to look between the lines to see you are eligible or not. And this applies for any application overall. So yeah, this is in terms of Schlumberger. It's quite competitive, but I think if you meet the criteria, it's quite rewarding and good and considered one of the most prestigious grants that you can get, because it can cover your tuition fees, can cover your personal expenses, living expenses, and also travel. And sometimes also it covers any conferences that you need to conference during your study, or any training that you need, as long as it's within the 50K per year limit. You have that money, which is brilliant. So yeah, it's I would say give it a try. If you meet the eligibility criteria, it's quite useful. um so yeah, I think, yeah, this is for Schlumberger. If I remember something, I'll also just mention it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So while we wait for people to pop their questions in the chat, I think I had like one or two questions while you were presenting that I just want to clarify, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you said it's a yearly award, and I know that the PhD is more than 1 year, obviously. And so, is there a form of a kind of renewal every year, or do you have to apply from scratch every year? So, how does that actually work year on year? Because I think it's something that people should have in mind while making the application so that they can be prepared ahead, because a PhD is on its own is a very rocky experience. I haven't done a PhD, but from all my friends that are doing PhD and have done PhD, we know that it's not a bed of roses. Obviously, grants are very good because they help you to take some level of pressure off so
Yeah.
that you can focus more on the study itself. So that's why these opportunities is good that we always let people know about them, how they work, so that people can plan around them, and also leverage on these opportunities. So just so
Exactly.
how does the year-to-year work? So PhD, is there like a year limit? Must it be you have to finish
Yeah,
your PhD for 3 years,
very
4 years, or something like that?
very good question. Very good question. Yeah, it is. It's a yearly, so you have to apply every year again. If you don't apply, it's not going to be renewed automatically. But I would say the renewal application. So if you are a grantee, current grantee, the renewal application is much easier and much shorter than when you apply new. So there is two questions at the beginning of the application. Will ask you, are you applying for a renew, or are you applying for a new application? And in terms of renewal, you only need to demonstrate that you've started your study, you are progressing throughout it. You have some in terms of methodology of your research, in terms of let's say collecting data or preparing some journal drafts or papers. That all this, any evidence that you are progressing well is good. Um, so it's nothing to be worried. I think during my first year, we had some sort of gathering for all the fellows that were awarded at that time, and it was we've asked this question: how po- potentially how much we need to be worried about the renewal. As long as you demonstrate some progress, you are doing well, then you should be all right. Unless you don't write anything that's in the application, that will be bad, of course. But if you demonstrate that you are or you're progressing well in the program, you should be absolutely fine. The nice thing is that when we had that meeting with the other fellows and the Schlumberger Foundation, you realize actually there are people behind the application process who will review what you say and so on. So they understand, for example, PhD is never easy, and usually the first year is the most difficult because you have moved from your country. You might have difficulties adapting to the culture, missing your family, having homesickness, and with all of that, there is this new research, this challenging gap that you need to find within your research area, and then develop a methodology and finding the resources, adapting to the place, to the supervisor, everything, to the weather even. It's not easy to adapt to the weather in the UK. So all of these things, of course, will affect on maybe they know about these things. So usually the renewal is much easier. It's usually the first year is the most difficult. So quite supportive. I know from experience. I have also some friends who got um, the grant from Schlumberger Foundation Faculty for the Future Fellowship right after me, and they had difficulty going to the country for 1 year. So they waited on them after they have received, let's say, that they have been accepted for the grant and so on. They waited for that candidate for 1 year to go to UK to start their study, and then they kept on supporting them, saying that okay, whenever you go, we will support you. So once you get that opportunity, they will not take it away from you, which is nice. Yeah, I think it's quite reassuring. So I wouldn't discouraged by it being a year by year basis. Usually, it's easy to do the renewal.
Okay. The second part of the question was: is there like a time limit for you to finish your program?
In the UK, the PhD usually is 3 to 5 years. Yeah, 3 to 4 years. Sometimes it can go up to 5 years. Um, I think up until 4 years, you shouldn't have any problems renewing your PhD application or grant. Uh, but it's between 3 to 4 years. I know students who have finished their studies in 2 years and a half. That's very impressive and great. But at the same time, if you want to publish and spend maybe publish your research, attend conferences, develop other skills, for example, teaching duties or research associate duties during your study time, take advantage of that. Those if you spend 3 years with extra activities, it's not like spending 2.5 years without doing anything else, because you evolve as a professional, as a person, as well as you develop in your study and your academic track career. So yeah, but usually it goes between 3 to 5 years.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. At least we understand that the scholarship comes with some level of flexibility and a lot of support, which is a very good thing that every student would like to have. So I think we will go to some questions that popped in the chat while we were discussing. I think we have the first question from Cynthia that says, "Does it mean you should get admission from a university before applying for the scholarship?"
Okay, that's a very good question as well. Um, so if either if you enrolled already, so you are a student, and let's say you are in midway during your study, you can still apply in the host university. Or if you are you got the offer from the university, you received the official, like the prime the admission letter from the university, you can also apply. Or even if you just applied and waiting for response, you can still submit an application for the foundation. But usually you can do that. Usually, as I mentioned, the application start time starts in September and ends around beginning or first week of November. But the results only appears in the next year in April. So you have all of that time to get the let's say the offer letter from the university and email it to the foundation to support your application. So you can do that if you applied and still waiting for an offer letter or response from the university. That's still you are eligible to apply. That makes sense. Um, for me, I was already 1 year a PhD student when I applied for the foundation. So my first year was self-funded and was not very easy. I would say it was difficult to be self-funded. I was working part-time in the university, working part-time in some sort of community engagement program with the primary school children in the UK, and also doing my study. So it was, although I had let's say the support that I need financially, but was also not very easy and to do that. So I would say it was very challenging. I couldn't enjoy my time. I was under lots of pressure. So, but what I'm trying to say is, even if you've started your study, you are midway through your degree in your home country, or another or in a university abroad, you are still eligible to apply. But if you are in a home country, you can't apply to finish your study in your home country. You have to have like some sort of a joint placement or a joint degree between your home country and abroad in a developed country. That's how you. I mean, this they won't just support you if you are just studying in your home country. It has you have to yeah, get some sort of sandwich degree for that.
Okay. Um, just on your last point before we go to the next question. So if you're already started your program in your home university, you have to find a way to link the program to a university abroad. So
Exactly.
essentially you have the same research, it's basically just shifting the study from your home country to the university abroad. Or do you already have to have that arrangement in place before you actually apply?
You need to have plans for the arrangement. So you should have spoken to the research institute abroad, or a supervisor there, in order when you at the time when you apply. Um, you don't have to have that, let's say, um, admission or link before applying, but just that planning that in advance, or having plans on how to proceed with the application would help. Uh, yeah. Sorry, what was your first question?
No,
Did I
that,
answer? Did I?
yeah,
I covered. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that was the question. You answered the question. Yeah, yeah.
Right,
So
brilliant.
basically, you can take advantage of the application window, but you also have to find a way to you have to make plans to also move your research to a developed country, university, get a supervisor, and all that. So
Exactly. Exactly.
if
It could be that you have a research methodology and a plan, but you don't have all the resources that you need. Or you need maybe some extra lab facilities to do your research, or some connections, or to carry on the research with another research um, group, let's say, to develop your skills. So you need to justify why this is useful for your study, and it should be fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's very good. So if you're in the audience and you've already started your program, or you're already having plans to do your PhD locally, it's not impossible for you to also pick up the fellowship and move ahead with that, and carry your research into a university with better facilities, more support. So it's also a good thing to think about. They're taking advantage of the fellowship. So I think we'll move to the next question. We have, sorry, yeah. Is the fellowship only for females, and does it cover all STEM programs?
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid that's only for females. Um, I know that there are other opportunities. For example, the Commonwealth, where uh, you can also apply if you're not a female, you're a male or female, you can apply. But for this one, I'm afraid it's only for females. Does it cover all STEM programs? Yes. Yes, it covers all STEM programs. Yes.
So I have a question of mine. So I believe I'm asking on behalf of some people. So it's two questions in one. Then I think we can go to the supervision aspect of the program. So the first part is, does this accommodate people with special needs? That's number one. And number two, is there an age limit?
There's no age limit, and yes, the only limitation is it should be, as I mentioned, the eligibility criteria has to be a female, someone from a developed country, to have an excellent track record, and so on. There's nothing against applying if you have any specific or special needs at all. And there's no age limit. There's no age limit, as long as you can demonstrate that you can go back to your country, benefit, let's say, or raise the science, engineering, or technology profile there. That will be that's what they need you to demonstrate. So there's no age limit.
Okay, so I have one question, but I will keep it to after the other section. So Buchi, over to you. Yeah.
Okay, so just to let us know that we have a question waiting. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, so I think that's all the questions we have in the chat for now. So I think we'll go into the second part of the discussion, which is away from the Schlumberger Fellowship specifically, and just into general PhD studies. So uh, probably we'll make it the kind of discussion. Uh, we'll ask questions, and I'll now pick questions from the chat, and then we can try to answer and see what kind of insights we can bring out of that. But the most important thing that we are trying to get out of the session is, as a prospective PhD student, what what are the key factors to consider when looking for a supervisor, when trying to get a supervisor in country abroad to look at your research or to work with for your PhD.
Okay, that's a very good start. Just before I answer this, can I ask all our participants to, because you've joined this session, you must have plans, or you know somebody who has plans to or wish to do their PhD. So the question that I'd like to ask is, can you type down why within the chat, why would you like to pursue a PhD degree? So the reason I'm asking is one of the one of the main drives for you to finish your PhD is to know the reasons, because it's as you mentioned, it's a commitment. So it's important to also think, why do I want to pursue a PhD degree? Is it in order to get an academic role, for example, working in a research institution, being, let's say, working within a university, or to continue to do research in a subject that you are passionate about, or just to advance your career and get, let's say, a better industrial job? So what's the reason? Is it to explore, let's say, a new environment, going abroad, travel the world? You need to think about what is it, why you want to do a PhD. And then what is the most important thing that you need to be aware of when starting the application? I would say it's very important to understand uh, the requirements when you apply. So do some research, see what is it. If you, let's say, you want to go to the US, think about how long is the study, PhD study would take there. What are the entry requirements? What is it that you need, basically, in terms of academic degrees, qualifications, financial support, um, personal documents, anything. So just get that knowledge before you approach anybody, so they are not surprised, and also you are well prepared. I think everyone, yourself, Bucci, and also Ijiro, and myself, we studied, or we are working in the UK. So in terms of the UK, each university, of course, has its own entry requirements. So it's important to know what are these requirements. When you start, let's say, look at the university that you want to go to, and then look at their entry requirements, because these are usually the same for any field, or within the same school, they are quite similar. And then find a suitable supervisor. How to identify a suitable supervisor? You need to look at their profile. So see if their research interests or background is similar to the field that you want to pursue a PhD at, and then contact them. So how to contact a PhD supervisor, or how actually, is this the first step? So the first step depends on how you want to um, pursue the PhD. If there are different routes, so it can be either the university advertise potential vacancies for PhD students, and this could be either fully funded, um, partially funded, or even unfunded. So you can need to find either finance your study yourself, or find external grant. This is one route. The other route is to contact the institution or research institution or university directly, and see if they have a suitable program that you can enroll to. And the other option is to contact supervisors directly. So if you are now actively looking for a PhD, it's good to look at the websites, and let's say LinkedIn, or jobs.co, jobs.uk.co, I think, jobs.ukjobs.co.uk, there's a website for jobs where you can customize the search and see if you can find a PhD opportunity from there. At the same time, uh, be again gather knowledge, see what are the requirements that you need when you pursue a PhD. Usually, the entry requirements include having either upper second class undergraduate degree or equivalent qualifications from abroad. Some PhD programs requires you to have a MSc, but not all of them. And you also need a language proficiency, which it could be either TOEFL certificate or IELTS with a specific score. This varies from university to another, and also from a program to another. So it depends on which course you'd like to study. And once you apply, and once, let's say, you get initial offer, conditional offer, if you're studying something relevant to engineering, science, or technology, you will need something called ATAS certificate, which is academic technology. Sorry, I know that's ATAS, but I need to look at the name, which is I wrote it down. Academic Technology Approval Scheme. It's just a certificate to get before starting your degree. So these are the main requirements. I would say again, academic qualifications, English proficiency, and you might need an MSc degree for that as well. Yeah. So in order not to go very far away, is there any questions, or did I answer your question, Pucci?
Yes. I think you hit the nail on the head. So yeah. So
Just to interrupt you briefly. I observed that there are questions on LinkedIn which are not popping up on the platform. So maybe later I can mention them, read them out, just to call your attention to that. So you can
okay.
go on. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back to that. I think this is the website you were talking about.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Yeah. Dynamic
jobs.ac.uk.
post.
Exactly. Academic posts. Yes,
I was thinking
exactly.
about like, oh, what's the website? We can just go. Yeah, great.
This LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn, you can customize the search engine for jobs, so you get notifications specifically the way you like. One of part of which is PhD opportunities. Um, another way to search or to look for.
Yeah. So just to summarize, you've given three routes. I think the first route is to check for university advertised positions, funded, fully funded, partially funded, or unfunded, depending. And if it's unfunded, you can now look for external funding, which the Schlumberger Foundation falls under. So that's one option. The second option would be to contact the university and ask for available PhD opportunities that they may have. And then you will see where you can enroll, and you can also inquire about funding as well through that route. And the third route would be to contact supervisors directly. So either through, maybe if a supervisor advertises a position on LinkedIn or on any website, or if you go through the profiles of potential researchers that you might want to study with, then you can reach out to them via email or via something like LinkedIn, or different ways you can try to reach out to them. And I know some supervisors have their own websites, or they belong to a research group that has a website where they take correspondence from potential students. So I think those are some of the important points to think about as a prospective student. Well, to going back to the first question you asked, the why, because I think it's something that we always touch on every time we come back to we come here to talk about scholarships, postgraduate studies. This, I think the why is always very important and very powerful. And I was happy when you asked that question. And I think we have a response from someone in the audience. Gloria says, I want to pursue a PhD to build a career in academia, to carry out research and explore other environments. And I think that's a very good answer. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Thanks a lot for responding to the question. I think, yes, then the PhD would be very suitable for you. You have more than one reason. It's very important to be motivated. It's important to know what is your ultimate goal that you want to reach, because when you start such a huge step in your career and your life, you might look back and say why I did this. So if the reasons, if the passion is not there, then you need that passion, you need that drive in order to carry on. So it's important to answer this question, and to have that, let's say, goal and vision, uh, to help you advance your career and get a PhD, and not only at the start, not only to continue, but also to start to find the suitable opportunity. And there is sometimes it's all about how much you are dedicated to get to start this that the first step towards that career, or that towards that PhD study. And in many cases there are opportunities, but you might not be aware of them. So just go to ask, speak to people, see how did they start, what are the external funding available there, and so on. um, is there any question, or should we do you like me to let's say give some tips about how to contact a supervisor potentially?
Um,
No.
Ejiro, I'm not seeing the questions you have, so
Yes. So
I'll
I
let you choose
actually,
whether to come in now or whether to come in later.
yeah. So the
Based,
question actually came. I think the question is about taking you a bit back, but I'll just read it. So it's to me the reason to study PhD. Okay, so let me post it. That is quite lengthy, so I hope it won't affect the. Yeah. So yeah. To me, the reason to study PhD in structural engineering are to pursue advanced professional practice in the broad field of structural engineering, which includes structures, earthquake, and geotechnical engineering, to contribute to the development of innovative solutions for complex structural problems, to gain in-depth knowledge and expertise in a specific area of structural engineering. And this is your field, so yeah. So this, a response to your
This is
question.
this is quite specific, right? I think the person might already have a PhD.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
yeah,
That's actually a great. You are passionate about structural engineering. You'd like to see the latest knowledge, advancements in specific field. This is a good drive to. You potentially you can pursue a PhD where you are, but also it's good to try to find, let's say, the best places for you, to best environment, best university, to pursue that passion. So um, yeah, don't be too much afraid of going that extra step and trying to find a research in an area that's quite new. That's where the funding is usually. So let's say you've done MSc, and I get a lot of students who would like to do a PhD, or their idea or research proposal of a PhD comes from their MSc program, research idea. Uh, that's good because you know a lot about it, which is very, very good. But also be open to exploring other research areas. Look at what the university or research group is interested in. Look at what the supervisor that you are trying to approach is interested in. See if you can find a common ground, or mutual research interests between yourself and the supervisor when you approach them. And don't be afraid to explore something that is completely new. Uh, Usually that it will be challenging, but as well it's going to be very, very rewarding. Um, so and when you, it's very important to know also to do some research about how to find a suitable opportunity. But when you find, by all means, try to contact more than one university. At the same time, maybe you can get more than one offer, and then you make a suitable decision, which one is the most best uh, best option for you. But when you contact the supervisor, don't wait more than 3 or say 5 to 7 days to get a response. People in academia are busy. If
Exactly.
they don't respond within 7 days, they might either not interested to respond, or they might be busy, and they might have forgotten about your email. So just send one reminder, wait another 3 4 days, and that's it. Move on. Find another supervisor. Um, that's one thing to consider when you approach a supervisor through email. If you have, let's say, a student email account, or if you have a professional, like from work, for example, email account, it's better to use that than to use your personal email account. But that's still fine that if you're a recent graduate and so on, that's still fine. But try to be as descriptive as possible, but also as concise as possible as well, and precise. So just mention why you are contacting the supervisor. What's your name? If you have a CV, attach the CV there. Where are you from? Where are you now? Uh, Briefly talk about your qualifications, academic qualifications, or work experience, and then why you are contacting them in particular. So look at their profile. Um, Make sure that you get their research interests right, and also specify if you have a external grant, or you're looking for to fund yourself, or you're looking for specific, let's say, within the university, a promoted or a position within the university that you found on LinkedIn or jobs.ac.uk. So be very specific. If you, let's say, you are looking into self fund your study, do some research, see if you have actually the financial resources to complete your study or not. If not, then what's your search? What's your plan B? Be very specific in order not to waste your own time or the other people's as well, because they will look for such evidence later on within the application stage. So in order not to get any yourself or anybody else disappointed, you have to know or have expectations about such things, and be very clear about that. Um, when you look for a PhD supervisor, try to look for someone who has recent publications. So within, let's say, the past 3 years, a person who has a research plan for yourself. So usually, after you initiate the first email with a supervisor, you might get do an online interview with a supervisor. So look at how active in research they are. Do they have any ideas? Because as an MSc graduate, or even undergraduate yourself, you might not necessarily know if this idea or proposal that you came up with is suitable for a PhD degree or not, or how long it's going to take to complete. A PhD supervisor might be able to support you with this. So a person with a specific research plan, supervisor with a specific research plan, is usually is the right option. I'm aware of the time,
Oh, no,
so
that's fine. Please go on. Go on, it's fine. It's fine. If you're
all
happy
right.
to go, that's okay.
Okay, all right. So I just want to say something. When I was looking for a PhD opportunity, I was speaking with at some time I contacted two supervisors. I'd eventually landed with one who is not exactly in my area of research. So I had my MSc in soil mechanics and foundations, which is one branch of the civil engineering, and then I did my PhD in highway engineering. The reason for that shift is that because of the supervisor. First, he was quite responsive in terms of emails. Second, he had a very specific plan. So this helped me gain the assurance that, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. They didn't just accept the proposal that I suggested. So look at these things. And also, it's like having a supervisor. It's like having one sort of relationship. So it's like I wouldn't say husband and wife, or a family member, but it will be somebody who you will speak to for the most important person in your study, and someone who you will interact with on a daily basis or a weekly basis. So it's important to have that chemistry right. When you meet the person, if you feel okay about it, also follow your let's say inner vision, or let's say gut feeling, in order to know if you are looking at the right opportunity or not. Because yeah, it's important. Although I spoke a lot about the supervisor, but it's a huge part of a healthy PhD study to find a suitable person to work with. Um, yeah, so this is in terms of approaching a supervisor. In terms of the application itself, at the minute, most of the universities would have an online application uh, route. So once you have identified the topic or a potential supervisor, then you can apply online using that website. And within that, you would need to write a research proposal, uh, or at least you need to identify a summary of research interests that you have, as well as personal statement. So why do you want to study in that university? Um, what does that mean to your career, and so on. And this is quite standard among almost all the universities, that you need to write a little bit about why you're interested in doing this research or in this study. So planning a PhD study takes time. If you are from a country that requires a visa, then or if you are applying, sorry, to a country where it requires a visa, then this might take a few months. If you don't have the English qualifications, or if you need these English qualifications, if you are from a country that the native language is not English, then you will need to prepare for that as well. So keep that in mind. It might take several, maybe half a year or more or less, depends, to start your study. In terms of starting dates, there is a normal or usual starting date, which is September, just like undergraduate studies. The academic start date in September. There's also a January intake, so you can start your study in January. There's also April and July. So there are several dates where you can start your study. Usually you can apply for the specific date 1 month in advance. So let's say the last time, or I can apply for September intake, would be somewhere in August, at the start of August. After that, if I apply, then automatically it's gonna be you'll be enrolled, or your application will go to January intake. So that's in terms of entry. I think I have covered everything. Any questions at this stage?
So there's some questions on LinkedIn, but it's not for the supervision, it's for the scholarship. So I think we'll just keep it towards the end, so she will not keep going back and forth. But what do you
Yeah,
think?
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
questions are
that's good.
about the Schlumberger
Yeah,
project.
so just I don't know why it's not popping up on the main chat, so that's why I'll have to read it out from here. Oh, anyway,
Okay,
Uh,
okay. I think we can come back to that if we exhaust
okay.
everything about on this particular section now. But I don't think we have any questions from the chat on this, on what we're discussing now about the supervision. And I think you've given an extensive breakdown of the different aspects involved. Unless Ejiro wants to contribute as a current
No,
PhD.
yes, please, Indra.
no,
So what's your
Okay, okay, go on. You're about to say something.
What's your experience in being a PhD student first? How did you apply? How did you find the right opportunity? Uh,
So it's one thing there are a lot of factors which you mentioned which I can relate with. So number one, the responsiveness, how responsive they were, because it was very important. And they were responsive, which was good for me, very, very good for me because if you're doing it's a journey and at times you need that hand or that guide so you will not feel lost. So the frequency of responsiveness was high, which was good for me. Then you mentioned the relationship. You said, is it father or mother or husband and wife, whatever you call it, the relationship between that. So for me, I keep telling people I have a father and a mother in terms of my supervisors because I can talk to them and at times I might not understand what they mean, but when I try to ask more, then they explain. So it's that not being scared to tell them, oh, okay, I don't understand this. What do you mean? That assuming, because I was watching one video about a PhD student, and she said one of her regrets was that whenever she speaks to her supervisor and they say something to her, if she doesn't understand it, she just keeps quiet, hoping that she'll go and find out, and that wasted her time. That if she knew, she would have told her on the spot that I don't understand. Can you explain? That would have saved her a lot of time. So, so,
exactly.
so I think some students should try to. For me, I tell them on the spot. Sorry, I don't understand. What do you mean? Or I send an email. Can you explain this? Do you mean? Just to be clear. Yeah. So yeah, it's a long journey, but it's an experience, a good one.
Exactly. I totally keep in mind that when you speak to someone, they could be from another, even from another country, from another. It takes time to develop or to understand each other, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. I agree. Yes.
yeah, very good point. It's very important as well to, if you are frustrated or if you feel, it's very important to communicate how you feel with the people that you work with, your supervisor. But at the same time, it's very important to keep that respect in that relationship, uh,
Yes.
and uh, and there will be pressure, there will be problems, there will be technical problems, resources, everything. Any it's 3 years of research on a new topic, a brand new
3 years.
topic.
Or four. Some people go 4, 5. It's not just three
Yes,
years.
or 4 or 5, exactly, exactly. So it's problems is part of the package. Just accept that. Uh, but it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. It
It
could
is
be
rewarding.
it could be the most important brick in your professional career. It could shape or make you make decisions in terms of where you'd like to work. What is it that you'd like to carry on with? It's quite rewarding. I can't really stress how much it, I said that it's required some sort of investment of time before and during the study, but it's completely worth it. It's very rewarding and a good place to be in academic or research career. Um, yeah. So I did my PhD in 4 years, but I as a lecturer now in civil engineering, I find less time to do research, or my time is actually divided between research, teaching, and other responsibility, administration responsibilities. So that time in the PhD where you are only focused on developing yourself is amazing. You can you can be involved in other research projects. You can be involved in some part-time work. You can do your personal development, learn a new software program, learn a new language, go elsewhere, do a placement during your PhD study. So really, the sky is your limits in terms of how can you develop yourself, how you invest that time. So yes, at the time during it before, it feels like it's like you're stuck in somewhere, but it's actually it's part of the package, and eventually, it's quite rewarding. Um,
Yeah, I think those are very, very important points. Thank you, Ejiro, for sharing your insights.
You're
So
welcome.
yeah, yeah, so,
Thank you
yeah,
very
so
much as well
yeah,
for you.
it's when you're trying to make your applications, or when you're an applicant, the perspective is different from when you actually get into
Oh,
the
very different.
yeah, yeah, and even as an applicant, at the start of the application and towards the end of the application, you also begin to see things differently. I remember when I started thinking about doing a postgraduate degree, a master's. I applied for some PhDs as well. I wasn't sure whether to do a master's or do a PhD. I was like, I wanted to. I wasn't sure. And but when you start doing the applications, you start writing the essays, the different statements, the different documents. You begin to get some perspective of what you actually want to do, and when you start answering those questions, you begin to reflect and, uh, you know, begin to know what you want and what you do not want. And those kind of perspectives also help you even beyond your studies, because even right now that I've finished my master's and I'm working, some of those things that I thought about, some of those questions I answered back then, are the things guiding the direction in which my career is taking now. And I'm sure it's the same for you too as well. So it's always important to hear these stories, listen to these experiences of different people, try to understand what you're trying to pursue, uh, try to answer the why question. The why question is always very important, always a very, very important question. You may not have all the answers, you may not have the best answer right now, but the more you think about the question, the more enlightenment you get on the answer to the question, and the more you engage with the process, the application process, like she said, you could either have started your studies already, planning to start, or in the middle of it. Those different steps help to shape your perspective of what uh, you want, how you want to proceed, but also be open to change, because it's a dynamic situation. And I like when you said that the problem is part of the package, because I believe if you're undertaking a postgraduate degree, you're trying to solve a problem. So there will always be problems to solve, and you will also encounter problems while trying to solve your own problem. So
Exactly. It's a complex set of problems.
yeah,
Yes.
so Idra, I think we can go back to the questions from LinkedIn now.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to switch over the power here, so that's why it's a bit dark. I just want to mention that for me, we realize that you're the only one interpreting, so please feel free to take a break. We are sorry. So if you want to take a break, please feel free to do that, okay? Okay, so let me quickly read the questions. But before I do that, I have a question for Dr. Iman, because we have a community, a group chat whereby we also help answer questions. And now someone asked a question, and I think the person was saying, can she or he change their PhD topic to suit a scholarship because they want to just do their PhD? Do you think that's wise?
To change the topic,
Yeah, or their research interest or their area or their field just to fit into a PhD and get a scholarship?
I would say it depends. It depends on the on if you are interested in that new topic or not. Um, if you are not interested, then it will be difficult later on when you face these challenges. But if you are happy, for example, if you are, for me, I studied civil engineering, in particular geotechnical engineering, but my PhD was in highways. The reason I changed it is according I found it more suitable to me in many aspects. Eventually, it was very rewarding, and when I look back, I would say I'll do the same. So it depends on if you're passionate about the subject or not, and also it's also difficult to say if you are or not, because sometimes even if the PhD opportunity that you are applying for is let's say your qualifications, although a bit different, is suitable for that new opportunity, I would say go for it. You are at the early if you are pursuing a PhD, then you are at the early stage of your career, so why not by all means, go and learn something new. What's the problem with that? But yeah, again, it's I would say it's worth to go for changing the subject within that field if you are not very far away from it. But at the same time, it depends on you of what is it that you eventually, going back to the reasons, what is the reason for you to pursue that PhD. One thing I also, sorry, I forgot to mention, is that it's important during the early stage of applying for a PhD is to be very, very clear with your supervisor about what kind of support you need. So let's say that you are planning to apply for Schlumberger Foundation or the Commonwealth Foundation, Commonwealth opportunities, grants, or whatever. Uh, just make it clear to your supervisor, because they are the person who they might be able to review your application and give you constructive feedback. They might be able to give you a sponsor letter. They might speed up you getting an offer letter from the university. So be very clear. Don't say that you have, let's say, that grant if you don't have that grant. Don't say you have these resources if you don't. Don't say that you have that experience if you don't. Be very, very specific with them from the beginning. And if they want you, they'll support you. They'll support you to gain that opportunity. That's one thing. In terms going back to Schlumberger Foundation, a lot of people asks if what does the grant cover, and what does it cover, and what is it that's not covered within the grant. For if you have children, for example, I think the grant can cover part of the expenses that needed for the children as well. For your children to go to the nursery, for example, when you're studying and so on. So it's good to look at the eligibility and also what the grant covers on the website. The frequently asked questions on the website are quite useful to look at. But yeah, this is I'm looking at my notes, see if I missed anything. I just put some set of notes.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's good to know that you came prepared, and I think you've hit most of the most interesting points, and you've answered most of the questions that I usually get from people. Uh, so yeah, so I think it's been a very helpful session, and you've been very, very, very good.
Can
Thank
Uh,
you.
can I quickly run through the questions? I haven't touched them yet. On
yeah,
LinkedIn.
so well, moving to you now. So let's go to LinkedIn
Yeah,
and the
we
newsletter.
can give a very fast answer. Just yes.
Absolutely, yes. I'll.
Okay. Okay. This is from Edward. He said, "Does Schlumberger Fellowship offers PhDs in machine learning?" Then he put in brackets CNN and GAN. Should I repeat?
Uh,
Did you get it?
Yes, I did. Yes, I think so. Yeah, why not? It's a new field of research. It's within STEM, so I think it should cover that. Yes.
Okay. Next question. The same follow. My master's degree research was on supervised machine learning, and I would like to expand my knowledge and skill in deep learning techniques, especially convolutional neural network, or that's CNN, and generative adversarial network, GAN. Yeah, that's the. I think it's a follow up question, or it will just
Yeah,
explain.
from the same
From
person.
the same
Yeah,
person, from
yeah,
Edward.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, if it seems that yeah, the person is like Edward likes to carry on with the same area of research as his MSc study, and it's within the STEM fields. If the question is for themselves or someone else, if they meet the eligibility criteria, by all means they should apply.
Okay. This is Mahama from Ghana. They say hi to you too. So the next question is from Bait Elvis. He says, Bait Elvis, thanks for the knowledge, quite insightful. Can you apply for the fellowship without an admission letter from any UK institution?
You can, yes. If you don't have the admission letter yet, the offer letter, usually conditional offer letter, is you can still apply, but you need to show evidence that you actually submitted an online application or you've contacted a supervisor. So how would you provide that evidence? There are sections in the application for Schlumberger Foundation where you have to talk about the supervisor that you approached. Also, you will need a support letter from them. They will be your referees. So this will also reinforce support your application, which means that you initiated something. So even if you don't have the admission or what we call offer letter at the stage where you submit your application, you need to show evidence that you actually applied. So a confirmation email from the university that they have received your online application form is a good evidence to have. And also you can later on you can send, if you have the offer letter after the application closing time for Schlumberger Foundation, you can still send it by email to Schlumberger Foundation to add it to your application documents for the grant.
Okay, thank you. So, about I think that's all the questions for the LinkedIn. And the question which I have to ask, which was reserved, you already addressed it, which was does the Schlumberger covers um funding for spouses, for children? So you already addressed that. So there was no need to keep it further anymore. So
I think
yeah.
it doesn't cover spouses, but I think it covers
Oh,
part of the fund fees for the children, like expenses for the children. But it's better to check the frequently asked questions, Ijiro, on
okay.
the foundation website.
Okay. I think that's all the questions from LinkedIn. But I want to say thank you to all our LinkedIn viewers. I'm sorry that some of the chat cannot pop up here, but at least I could see from the phone. So, all right. So over to Buchi now.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think uh, we're getting to an hour and a half now, so we'll be rounding up very soon.
Yeah.
We've taken most of the questions, and I know we've taken a lot of time. Want to make a special shout out to Fumi, who has been on the line.
Wow, for me.
Yeah, thank you so much for helping out with the interpretation for people that are challenged, so that they can also partake in the information that is being shared here. So just before we finish, we just want to ask, this is just a casual question to Dr. Eman. Are you, as a researcher, currently looking for students to work with, or do you have any opportunities for students to work with you? Uh, maybe not now, but maybe something coming up in the future, something in the pipeline, and what might be the best way to reach out for people that might be interested in that?
Okay, thank you, Buchi, for the question. I am actually, yes, I'm looking for PhD students, whether they are funded, self-funded, or looking for external grant. I'm happy to support them with the application. And if they are looking for some external grants, I'm also happy to review these grants with them, develop a proposal that's suitable for both of us. In terms of research interests, I am mainly interested in highway engineered materials. I look at how to advance or how to um, extend the service life of asphalt pavements, roads, by developing or using innovative materials, by understanding how the roads interact or is affected by the different weather conditions, trying to let's say develop or understanding or predicting how the roads interact with environment helps us develop more suitable or customized mixed designs suitable for specific, let's say, a region or weather. So this is quite interesting in terms of now we are witnessing lots of changes because of climate change, some extreme weather events that affects any infrastructure. So I'm interested in this aging or moisture damage behavior or extreme events like flooding and how does that impact our roads. I'm also interested in the reuse of waste materials in construction. and we have some active research in the area. So looking at hydrothermal treatment, like chemothermal treatment, chemical plus thermal treatment of waste materials in order to reuse them in construction. For example, waste plastics, food waste, agricultural waste, and how to treat these materials to be suitable to replace some raw materials. This is in order to preserve raw materials, reduce the carbon emissions, and also it addresses several issues, including reusing materials instead of, let's say, dumping them in landfills and so on. If you are interested in knowing more about my research, you're welcome to either drop me an email at e.omairey at tees.ac.uk, or please by all means check my LinkedIn profile and drop me a message there, or look at my profile on the university website at Teesside University. I'm happy to chat with you, and I'm also happy to support you with your any external application that you're applying for. Being myself a PhD, a previous international student in the UK, I understand your struggles. I'm also keen to let's say share my knowledge and in that area with a new young professional like you. So by all means, please reach out, email. Even if you're not looking to into working with me, I'm happy to guide you to the direction that you are interested in. Before just we conclude, as you've mentioned, which is 1 hour and a half. So before our participants go to sleep, so I'd like to thank you, Ijiro and Buchi, and also Funmi. It was great speaking to you today and with our audience as well. Thank you for interaction and questions.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you here on this platform. I believe it was a very worthwhile discussion. A lot of very important points were passed across. I'm sure the viewers and those who watch this video later on, because it will be available on the YouTube channel, so you can always go back, listen to the videos, refer your friends who may be looking for this kind of information. It's all part of the journey to help everyone to reach out to these opportunities that are available, because not everyone knows about some of these opportunities that are available, and the more awareness you have, the more likely that you're going to make use of these opportunities. So we are very thankful for you have coming on this platform to share this insights with our viewers, and we would love to have you back some other time, maybe to share more.
Yay.
So yeah, so you're welcome to this platform, and we'll be looking out for you once in a while to come back and let us know how things are going, and more tips that you want to share with our viewers. Also want to thank Ejiro for always being here and always pushing these sessions, working in the background, making sure things are working. You know,
Thank you.
making sure that the audience is getting the best part of the content that they need to get. And we have another session tomorrow, which is an informal Q&A again, just a discussion among previous scholarship awardees, answering questions from the audience. So if you couldn't make it today, or if you feel you still have some questions by tomorrow, or you have some friends that have asked you some questions, or you know people that are looking for this information, they can come and join the discussion tomorrow, same time, same platform, and we will be here to answer questions, peculiar questions, whatever type of questions you have, whether you think it's relevant, irrelevant. There's no question that is too big or too small to be answered. Even if we don't know the answer, we can make research and come back with the answer, or we can refer you to where you can find the answer. So it's all part of the process. No one knows it all, but the more we interact, the more we understand where people are having their challenges, then the more we can be able to address those challenges and provide better solutions to those problems. And then we move a step forward. So, Ejiro, I don't know if you want to say a final goodbye to the audience before we close.
Okay. Should we address the last question that came up, or should you just move it for tomorrow?
Okay, okay. I think I
Just
saw,
came up, or
and
maybe
I think
this
it's
will be the
for,
last.
yeah, I
The
think it's
last
for,
one.
I think it's directed to Dr. Eman specifically.
Yeah. So the last one, and we're done.
Yeah, yeah. So please,
Uh,
will you accept someone from management but interested in your research areas?
oh,
Hmm.
that's a good question. Um, Absolutely. The answer is yes. It's the best type of research is interdisciplinary research, where you can scope knowledge from more than one field and in order to solve a problem, especially now more than any time ever, because now we are looking into sustainable solutions, and sustainability means looking at the whatever solution, what other technique that we have, and if it was technical, that we need to look at the social impacts, we need the environmental impacts, also economic impacts, and lots of this involves management, right? So absolutely, I'm looking forward to opportunities where we can benefit from each other, share different knowledge in order to solve a problem. So yes, Gloria, I am interested. So please, if you are interested to working with me, please get in touch. That would be great.
Okay,
Okay.
and thank you so much, Richie. So we have other questions, but I will not take it. So based on LinkedIn, I'm so sorry. We'll take your questions tomorrow because we have to go. But thank you for asking it. It shows that this is really engaging and you're learning a lot. So tomorrow we have, like Richie mentioned, we have a Q&A section. Your question determines the flow of the program for tomorrow. So just come back and ask it, and I'll try to flag down your question. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Iman. I'm kind of jealous because I didn't really have this opportunity during my PhD application. You get this is not more accessible, as in you get to
I
speak
am
with it.
I am I am jealous, Ijiro.
Yeah.
You're still a PhD student.
Oh,
I wish I become a PhD student again. 100% of the time on research. But thank you very much also, Jira. I think I really am proud of you and all of these initiatives and these nice gestures that you are doing for others, sharing your knowledge. It's brilliant. You are an idol.
thank you. So over to my wonderful, they call him the people's host, Buchi. He's an amazing host. So
Thank you, Buchi. Yes, great. You are a great host.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks for sharing your experience as a postgraduate student in the UK, and then how this has impacted on your professional career. It's quite insightful. It was quite insightful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, like I said, tomorrow we have the session. I think that's the link to tomorrow's session in the chat. Feel free to drop in tomorrow with your unanswered questions, any kind of questions. It doesn't necessarily have to be about PhDs or about scholarships. Like Adrian said, your questions tomorrow will determine the flow of the discussion. So if you want to talk about tips on how to make applications or how to answer the why question that we talked about. What are the things you should think about when you're trying to answer why you want to do? We can talk about that. You just need to bring those questions in and we'll try to answer to the best of our ability. So at this point, I would be calling it a night and I would say thank you to the speakers, thank you to the audience, thank you to everyone. It was great having you here. And we wish these sessions could go on and on and on and on, but we have to call it to a close today, and we'll be back tomorrow. And there will be other future sessions as well. So we're going to be here giving content. We've also done some previous sessions in the past, so you can check the YouTube channel, see uh, other things under the scholarships and the postgraduate channel. There are a lot of videos there about different other programs and different other things we've discussed. I think we had a discussion on statement of purpose last week, which was also very insightful. We had a lot of people engaging. So you're always welcome to these resources. And at this point, I would say good night and have a nice day tomorrow and see you guys next time. Thank you, everyone, and good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.